And
So we could be like today's Thursday.
yeah,
You're saying that even by this time next week, we still could
still could
be
be
in
freezing.
this kind of like
Exactly. Technically,
uncomfortable
the deep freeze.
situation.
You could see it in the 7-day forecast there because your highs never get warmer than 32. There's a 33, one of them.
Wow.
One on
Oh
Thursday
boy. It's a
of
heat
next
wave.
week. I know exactly. So, and that's still way down the road. So, we may catch a break in between, but yeah, it's just that cold Arctic air. We just keep getting reinforcing shots of that cold polar air. What I think one year was deemed the polar vortex we used to hear all the time.
Yeah.
Just a little chunk of that cold Arctic air makes it all the way down into the States. It does happen pretty much every winter, but to this degree, it's a little crazy.
You know,
But I remember that.
it's coming right after this storm.
Right.
Did the storm sort of usher in the cold air, or it was going to happen no matter what?
It was going to happen pretty much no matter what. In fact, the storm kind of worked with the polar air that was already here. So it was here first. It's just that the storm came together to where we could have the moisture, and on top of that cold air, that got the whole snow and ice situation set up for us.
Isn't it the old wives' tale, or if ever you want to call it, the
Mm.
old saying that it's too cold to snow?
So
Does
yes
that,
and
is that
no.
what's the deal with that?
It's kind of a weird thing because you will find that it's really cold and it won't snow. And it really has to do with, just how dry the air is. Typically cold air cannot and will not hold much moisture. So therefore it is too dry. It may be very cold and too dry. So people think that those two are kind of correlated.
Okay.
But if you get enough, a strong enough area of low pressure or something to pull up the moisture into that cold air, yes, it can absolutely snow in just about any given situation. It's just
Got
that
it.
sometimes it's so
course.
cold and dry that it's not going to happen. So
Okay.
that's why people say that. You could really go either way with that argument. Sometimes I do that just for fun, just to make an argument because it keeps it interesting. But yes, there is no such thing as too cold for actual snow. It's just more that it's too dry. But if you put them both together, I could see how you could make that argument.
Tyler, can we bring up? I'm gonna go outside real quick while Mike kind of tries to slip into this computer here, so we can take a closer look at some of the graphics.
Forgot what I was doing.
Live view one, if we could, which was Jessica's shot. I mean, it's kind of it's not the whole deal, but this kind of gives you a sense.
Yes.
The streets are clear. We love that.
Yes.
But the banks or the sidewalks and sort of that area right as you sort of get to the corners, the street corners, all that kind of stuff.
That is so gross.
It's so New York City, and it just kind of has that glaze of just kind of a grimy glaze of whatever it is.
And not a good one.
And it's not going anywhere, which is part of the problem because it's so cold. And so, Tyler, let's jump up to the statue shot because you can see, I think that's the Staten Island ferry as it's making its way across from Staten Island.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. Which is WXN metric 3, I think that's what it is.
Okay. Let's see what we got here.
There we go. Yeah,
Okay, so you can see that ice out there. It has to be ice out there. The Staten Island ferry, that's a big ship. But sometimes you can imagine if the whole harbor got locked in with the ice, I don't know, next week might be a little bit even more impressive. I doubt that it gets to the point so the Staten Island ferry can't run, but the other smaller local ferries, those ones have a hard time. They had to start shutting them down through the Hudson River, through the East River, but that's a big harbor and that's a bigger ship. So I'm not too worried about that one coming to a close.
I've seen a sci-fi movie about this.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, you didn't see that movie? With
Is this
Jake Gyllenhaal all those years ago?
What was that one? Was this The Day After Tomorrow or something like that? Yes.
I mean, that's when that happened. Of course, that happened like instantaneously.
Right.
But to have this go for, I mean, by the time we get out of this, and who knows what's going to happen beyond Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week, could keep going.
It could come back at us.
Are we getting close? And I don't want to put you on the spot, but are we getting close to like one of the longest stretches, at least in recent modern history?
Yeah, I can remember for sure. I'm gonna have to go employ the help of
Farmer's Almanac kind of situation?
And I'd have to ask like a chat GBT to do all the research because otherwise you have to go by year and actually look at these streaks. But yeah, I certainly don't recall a year with even this many below freezing days. I remember Sully Sullenberger.
Yes.
The year that he had to land the plane in the Hudson River. That year there was a lot of snow and ice in the river. I think that was 2009, I want to say, somewhere around mid-January. Anyway, that was one of the years where it looked like you could go all the way across.
2009.
2000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
January
15th.
2009.
Yes.
Wow.
January
See, I
15th, 2000.
must have looked that up, and it's still stuck in my head. Thank you for making me look smarter than
Yeah,
I.
it was in the frigid cold weather. I mean, we did.
It
Luckily,
was.
luckily the Hudson wasn't as frozen over as it is today, because
Not
that probably
because they
could have
did
made
have some area to land
that could have made
to
it a
land
lot
the
more
plane.
complicated.
But yeah, it was. I remember that, and the folks getting off that plane and acting like they were all as calm and cool as could. I mean, at least from a distance.
Happy to
Anyway,
be alive. Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
Happy to be alive. But anyway, that was one of those years where we did have a lot of cold air locked in, and there was a lot of ice. But I think this could outdo that streak. So I've been here since 2001, and
Yeah.
I don't think there's been another year like that.
Yeah.
So something tells me that this one is going to be the coldest streak that I've endured. But as far as on record all time, I'd have to do a little more research on that one. But yeah, it depends on how many days we actually have in the end as well. But it's cold stuff, so the cold air is in place. So anything that comes through, I don't know if you remembered or saw me talk about this morning. This is kind of an interesting thing.
What do you mean you don't know if I remember?
Well,
Of course I
because
remember.
sometimes you might be off and doing your own little thing. But offshore on the radar satellite, I don't know if it'll come up on the radar graphics, but there. Oh, see that thing? There it is, just offshore, south of
The light blue?
the light blue. That snow, that is ocean effect snow.
Okay.
That's that cold Arctic air going across the ocean water, not the lake effect snow. There's lake effect snow there too, by the way. I get excited about these things. This is weather
it's
nerd
different.
stuff.
It's different stuff.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? What is that? What is that?
So it's the cold air picking up the moisture off the water and producing snow. So
Is
you
it
know
the-
how like Western New York, they get locked in, they get like
Yeah.
5, 10 plus feet of snow.
Right.
That would be doing it right there.
Luckily it's in the middle of the ocean.
It's in the middle of the
So
ocean,
that's
so it doesn't bother
that's
anyone.
the cold weather almost creating its own.
Yeah, exactly. So the
Situation.
cold air running across that relatively warm ocean water, picking up that moisture, and then it gets the clouds and the snow showers going that are persistent in the same spot. That's what that is, and something that's going to go on as long as we have that persistent west-northwest wind. They're locked in on it. Oh, now this is showing the storm
say,
potential that we have for, because one of the Barron models actually brings it a little closer to us here.
I was going to say our conversation for these first 7 or 8 minutes
Yep.
has been like two people having small talk where they know they got to get to the bigger question,
Okay.
the bigger
Weekend
conversation.
storm.
Yeah, and I've been sort of like filibustering.
Okay.
Because I
Yes.
don't want to know. I want to know, but I don't.
Well,
I
yeah.
I volunteered to work.
I think we've been beat up pretty
Yeah,
good with
yeah.
the snow. There is potential out there
What's
for
gonna
more
happen?
snow
Okay.
to come through, and it
Okay.
would be on Saturday into Sunday. But that snow threat at this point, we backed it down to more like 30%, at least for us here in the city. Yesterday was
60.
60. Yeah.
This is crazy. So we don't know.
Yes.
We don't know.
It's really a last minute call, and the trend is it has been for it to pull a little further offshore, and if that is the case, the heavier snows offshore as well. But yeah, that is the trend lately. Hopefully it stays that way. I think folks want a break from the snow, but we'd also love a break from the cold air.
Can you talk us through that storm? Like where we're at, what could happen, what are we thinking?
So it looks at this point like it is still going to be a very powerful nor'easter, but with it taking shape further offshore away from land, as long as it's more than say 100 miles away, the storm center, then we don't get as much of an impact in terms of snow. Still going to be very rough with the surf, perhaps some beach erosion, coastal flooding at times of high tide. That will still be an issue for us here. But when it comes to snow totals that we get out of it, as of today, I'd say just a few inches for the east end of Long Island along the Jersey Shore. The rest of us in the metro areas may not get much of anything, maybe a dusting or something like that.
So this storm is making its way.
It's that
from
low
the
over
west.
Oklahoma,
So now it's,
right there.
So at the beginning of the week it was over here. Okay,
Yeah.
so there it is, and it's coming down,
Yes.
and it's still in this area now. Oh, that's
There,
Saturday.
this is exactly. It's
Future
actually
cast.
that one on the future
Oh, I
cast.
see, I
See,
see.
so the this particular set of graphics isn't completely updated where the camera moves, but the bottom line is it shows the proper information. Camera's in the wrong spot, but this storm is still coming together. But with it being a little bit further away from us, we get clipped on the backside, which still gives us a little bit of snow, but it's not a monster nor'easter. As of today, I still reserve the right
Yeah, you
to
should.
shift it back tomorrow in case, because this is what happens with these models. At one point, the forecast for parts of the tri-state up to 20 plus inches of snow from this thing. I didn't want to say it, but I know I shared that with you, and of course people want to know because sometimes it comes through. It's kind of like what happened last weekend.
I know.
The model started advertising it, and sure enough, it did come through. We're like, uh-oh. because
So
it got more consistent with those
at
forecasts.
this moment, because a lot of people do watch this, we'll post these segments to YouTube, and a lot of people do watch the shorter segments that we do post on YouTube
Mhm.
and Instagram. And I guess the bottom line is you just have to be aware that it
Right.
could happen.
Exactly. That way you can prep yourself for if you have to make any kinds of changes and so on and so forth. Because, we definitely have the potential out there. There is going to be a coastal storm, a nor'easter. But if it's offshore far enough, it doesn't bother folks so much, other than the surf and the high tides, the above normal high tides. But if it does decide to hug the coast, like again, our Barron model wants to bring it a little closer too. I mean, that could mean a foot of snow still for parts of the Jersey
Right.
Shore and the east end of Long Island. Not the core of the tri-state, but still, that's our peeps. That's
That
that's us
is,
here in the
yeah,
tri-state,
Long Island
Suffolk County.
down the
Look
Jersey
out!
down the Jersey Shore, all this kind of
Exactly.
stuff. All right, we're good.
Yeah,
Got it all.
we're pretty good. We're pretty good. I'm trying to think. Yeah, just need a break from the temps. I'm trying to think. I need a little vacation. I think it's time for a sunny, warm break.
Good time, Charlie.
Here, yeah, that's right.
I
I'm
hear
gonna
it's
live
going to
up
be
to that.
70 in Miami, so maybe that's something.
No, it's cold there. The iguanas are gonna be falling out of the trees there too. I got to go further south. They got that sort of weather coming at them this weekend. By the way,
I used to work down in Fort Myers, and we
Did
would
it
go to
happen?
Boca Grande,
Yeah,
which they did. They had like a whole thing of those
yeah.
little iguanas freezing down there. But they freak
40
out when it gets to the point where it's going to be like the possibility of some vegetation freezing overnight.
Yeah.
We went into team coverage.
Oh, absolutely. That's top story for a week. Kidding
All right.
me?
All right, Mike. Thank you very much. It's